This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
You're listening to the Pretend You're Fired Today podcast. And now, here's your host, Lisa Rangel.
Welcome and hello. Welcome to the 15th episode of the Pretend You're Fired Today podcast. I'm Lisa Rangel, host of the Pretend You're Fired Today podcast and the founder of Chameleon Resumes. We are an executive resume writing and job search consultancy firm that help high-level executives and high-potential leaders land their next position faster. And today's podcast show topic I'm so excited about. I want to show you how to set up informational interviews with specific companies that you're interested in. With 13 years of recruiting under my belt, I'm often really surprised how few executives use this tool of setting up informational interviews. Others call them exploratory interviews that help you learn new industries, new aspects of your business, or help you discover unpublished opportunities that exist in your field, but again, they're unpublished. This is a great tool to use to put yourself out there without officially declaring that you're looking for a job. This tool can play an instrumental part in career advances for the rising professional and the established executive. Job seekers sometimes fail to recognize how this process works, and I want to clear this up for you today. I want to show you how to set up informational interviews once and for all, so this way you can stay in demand. Doing proactive activities such as this, like setting up informational interviews, will help you keep yourself in demand when you don't need a job. This is the key element in the Pretend You're Fired Today action list. Keep your network primed. Keep them active. So this way you stay in the forefront of your network's mind to create demand for yourself consistently. We want you to be in demand when you need it. So you need to build it before you need it. This way, if your job situation changes unexpectedly, you already have pent-up demand for what you do. In past episodes, we talked about the only way to truly protect yourself from job loss is to pretend you're fired today and then make a list of activities you would do to start finding that next job, but then doing it while you're employed. Always having this list in the works, having your resume and LinkedIn profile ready, having your network primed is the best path to always be working, having career continuity, and not have gaps between employment. As we said in episode 1, the first thing to do on that list is to dust off your resume and get it up to speed. And we covered in the first 8 episodes how to format your resume according to today's trends for maximum marketing impact. And we've spent the following 4 episodes focusing on the other equally important document for you to maintain, which is your LinkedIn profile. And the last 2 episodes, we covered the most 5 common career mistakes I see smart people make every day and how to work with recruiters. And today, we're continuing those career maintenance strategies by learning how to set up an informational interview. So here goes. Informational interviews, or again, others have called them exploratory interviews, are high-value ways to network, obtain information, and leave a good impression with the company that might interest you down the line. Whether you're actively seeking a position or you're contemplating a transition and you're not sure which way to go necessarily, an exploratory interview can bridge that distance between where you are and where you think you might want to be. Even without a current job opening, company management often welcomes these types of conversations with high caliber talent as a proactive way to procure talent for the next open position. They want to procure talent before they need it as well. So you can access their expertise and investigate your options by arranging an exploratory informational interview. A couple of advantages to setting up these informational interviews are they give you a chance to learn and understand critical current issues within your industry or within your profession. Publicly available information about a company or an enterprise, it's important, but it lacks that immediacy or intimacy of an inside perspective. And because there's no hiring pressure, you can thoughtfully tailor your questions to get a candid industry perspective that otherwise may not be available in public resources. Also, these interviews create opportunity in and of itself. Executive positions are not always publicized, and by the time they are, there's often a candidate that's already under consideration. How many times have you experienced that in your career, right? An exploratory interview allows you to meet and greet influential stakeholders in a particular company or a field of interest that you have. And because you're not necessarily positioning yourself as a job candidate for this particular opening, since it's an exploratory interview, you and your contact can naturally just engage in question and answers that arise during a meeting of this nature. This informal chat can be a very powerful networking tool. Not only may you be able to add a contact to your professional network, but you can receive a call months down the line when a new or existing position opens up within their organization that they think of you first for. When thinking about referrals in which to set these appointments up, these chats up, consider who you know in groups such as like professional associations or service organizations within your industry. Look at the networks that you have on LinkedIn, both social as well as personal and professional networks. Look at friends and other contacts that you have. And then once you identify companies and industries that you want to explore, see how your contacts are connected to those companies. LinkedIn's a great tool for that. You can also call individuals in an unsolicited, cold manner. It sounds difficult, but it's actually not, and it's definitely another path that's open to you. There's two paths, at least, that are open to setting up an exploratory interview: a referral from your network or a cold call. And when asking for a referral to set up an informational interview through a friend, the awkwardness of asking that friend or colleague for that interview referral can be relieved a bit by the fact that your purpose is for an informational interview. You're not asking for a job. You're expressing curiosity about something within that organization that that person can shed some light on, and it's outside of your realm of expertise. So your friend might be less likely to feel on the spot because you're looking for a job. When it's more informational, people are more likely to connect people together. And also, a cold call can be a surprisingly useful experience. When cold calling for an informational interview, the key is to research the company and the individuals that you wish to speak to before the call and tie that knowledge into your custom request. And a quick note via email or typed letter could be the best way to reach out to a potential contact. If you have a mutual contact making a referral, even a handwritten note might be a great example of setting yourself apart differently. So these are all different strategies to consider. But here's an example that I'm going to read to you of a cold call letter that could easily be edited to be introduced even by a mutual contact. So bear with me as I read this with you. Dear so-and-so, I found your December article about security applications and wireless sensor networks in the Journal of Telecommunications compelling. And I'm writing to ask whether I could schedule an informational interview with you to learn more or a chat. I'm researching the telecommunications industry to explore career options, and I found your article to be of great interest. My background is in cybersecurity with extensive experience in the U.S. Air Force as an intelligence officer and in the private industry in corporate risk management. And I agree with your point about a critical shortfall in qualified information security professionals to combat the widening array of cyber attacks on domestic communication networks. I will be in Austin next month and hope to schedule a meeting with you. And I look forward to hearing your perspective on the direction of the industry. My telephone number is X. My email address is Y. Thank you for your time and consideration. And sign your name. That's it. So we took information that we saw in the public forum and we connected it to our interest and agreement with what that person's position. Now, you may not get a response each time. These requests are unsolicited, especially when it's cold. And even when through a mutual contact, it may be tough for the recipient to schedule you in, especially if it's not a pressing matter. So the key is to keep trying, be polite, be persistent, and just keep trying. And when you land the interview, the informational interview, while we cover interview prep in later podcast episodes, here are a few short tips for you to prepare. You want to prepare for your informational interviews just as you would a job interview. Don't try to do it off the cuff. This person's scheduling time out of their day for you, so invest time to make their time feel like it was worth it for them. And remember, your responsibility is to drive the experience with curiosity as well as courtesy. Reflect on these points. Let research be your guide. Learn about who you're interviewing with and try to find relevant personal or professional connections that you can keep in the back of your mind to use as needed, if needed, throughout the interview to continually engage a connection. Ask smart questions. Establish rapport at the outset. Ask your most important questions first. So if they do need to cut the interview short, you still got what you needed. and also made the best first impression. Customize your questions to the interviewee and to the industry. Suggest solutions to collaboratively identified issues. Don't ask for a job. That's the key. And keep it short. Informational interviews can occur over lunch. They can occur over a 15 to 20-minute meeting in person. They can sometimes even be a Skype call or a phone call, depending on location and their availability. Also, leave a good impression. Ask what you can do for them if the conversation leads in that way as well and it's appropriate. Follow up afterwards. Send a thank you note. Consider sending an interesting article or news item that's related to a topic that you discussed during the meeting as a means of later follow through as well. And add your contact on LinkedIn if they gave you permission to do that. So making a personal connection through these informal and these informational and executive interviews may lead to the professional position that you want. It may not happen right away, but it can also happen much later down the line just by simply making the connection. And applying these points to set up these informational meetings, you will learn new areas that are related to your industry, to your profession. You might also learn about a new field altogether and how your skill set might be relevant to that new field. So were any of these tactics that I mentioned to you today new to you? Were you surprised by how easy it could be to set up an informational interview? Can you picture yourself doing this? I hope so. But if you were surprised by any of this and you feel like you've been doing it incorrectly or not at all, I'm going to encourage you to take our job landing quiz at joblandingquiz.com. This will help you find other knowledge gaps you have, see what else you don't know, see what else you're assuming is too hard. And the key is to learn what your knowledge gaps are in landing a job. So this way you can identify what your knowledge gaps are and get them fixed. So once you receive your score on the quiz, again, at joblandingquiz.com, you will be given access to the free training that will give you solutions to these mistakes that you may be making and to, again, close those knowledge gaps. I'm so proud of you for taking these steps to making yourself marketable when you don't need it yet. I'm telling you, most people wait for that unexpected job change to happen, thinking it's never going to happen to them, and then they're begrudgingly learning this information. So kudos to you for learning it and doing it before you need it. Bravo. I'm so proud of you. If you're currently not working, don't worry. Don't think you're behind the eight ball. You now know what you need to do, and you can correct your mistakes starting today. The key is that you now know what to do, and now you can do it. So let's take action on today's episode. Take the quiz at joblandingquiz.com and see what other job search information you don't know and what will hinder your ability to find a job fast if you needed to unexpectedly. And again, once you receive your score on the quiz, you will get access to free training that will help you fill in those knowledge gaps. And will also help you get started with informational interview activities. Remember, for the next few episodes of the Pretend You're Fired Today podcast, we're going to continue to go through the list of tactics and activities that you need to do now as if you were let go today to ensure that you're always ready for whatever the world brings your way. The first item on that list was the resume, which we cover in episodes 1 through 8. The second item on that list was updating your LinkedIn profile, which you can review in episodes 9 through 12. And in episodes 13 and 14, we covered the 5 most common career mistakes that I see smart people make all the time, and then how to work with recruiters. And today, we learned how to generate informational interviews to keep you relevant to your marketplace. In the next episode, we're going to show you how to stay in demand in the eyes of your competitors while you're working. And we're going to show you how to keep your competition wanting you before you need them. This is the best way to maximize your earnings throughout your career. My friend saved me with her priceless advice of pretend you're fired today, and I'm paying it forward with you. And I ask you to pay this sentiment forward and share this with as many executives and rising professionals who you feel would benefit from this build it before you need it advice. And to get a jump on this next item with the Pretend You're Fired Today activity list, which is to make sure you could successfully look for a new job suddenly if your job situation changed. Go take our quiz at joblandingquiz.com, and in addition to setting up informational interviews, see what you don't know how to do and fill in that knowledge gap with the free training that's coupled with the quiz. In our next episode, we will discuss the best ways for you to stay in demand with your competition. Imagine your competitors coming to you. That would be awesome. So make sure you join me next week. And I thank you for joining me today, and we will pick up again in the next episode. Have a great week.
This is the podcastfactory.com.